Hi everybody, today I want to talk to you about life after melanoma. So I want to talk to everybody today about melanoma. Um, I was diagnosed with melanoma this last August, and I wasn't sure what stage of the cancer I had. And I know my videos slowed up on all my channel, or the two channels I have, because I had to go through a surgery in order to remove it. And if y'all been following my channel, my husband and I moved to Arkansas from Dallas to a homestead. And I think we really don't ever gauge what's going to happen. You know, as our life moves forward, it doesn't matter where you live. Obviously, you know, life's going to continue on happening. And I had I didn't have a mole per se. I had some pigmentation from what I always thought was just sun damage. And I'd had it checked along the years, you know, along my lifetime at the dermatologist. I had some other things looked at, and so I took a trip this last summer to see my kids in Dallas. My daughter turned 30, and my son was turning 29, and I wanted to spend her, you know, birthday with her. And then their birthdays are so close together that I decided to take that trip to Dallas. So I committed that when I came back from that trip that I was going to go to the dermatologist because I had a mishap with the pigmentation and it started to bleed. And my mind went back to when my dad was diagnosed with, my adopted father was diagnosed with melanoma. And they had to do surgery on him, and he was at a very different stage than I was. So, and melanoma did not kill my father, and he had a heart condition. But for those of you that notice any sort of changes in your body, I'm just here to recommend that you go to a dermatologist, you know, if not yearly, every 2 years, something like that, so that you can get a once over if you're a person who enjoys, you know, being out in the sun. I did as a child. I spent my summers at the, you know, pool or at my grandmother's, and it was always outside, and, you know, sunscreen was always used. But, you know, back in the 70s, I don't know how good sunscreen was. It's surely not what it is today, for sure. But I used to get a lot of heavy sunburns on my chest. I mean, to where I had blisters. So I just thought the pigmentation on my chest was merely just that sun damage. Freckles, you know, it really looked like a freckle. And so I wasn't truly alarmed by it until it started bleeding. And then I knew that I had a dramatic change, and if I didn't go get it checked right away, that it was going to be a problem. So I went into the dermatologist here in Arkansas, and Bill and I have not established doctors or physicians here. So I had to ask people in the community if they knew a dermatologist. I researched dermatologists here and around my area, and doctors are like, you know, the nearest doctor is like probably an hour away at a minimum. But I went out a little bit further and found a female dermatologist, and obviously they did a biopsy the very first time I went in. They sent it off, and it was melanoma. It was incredibly scary because you don't really know what stage you're going to be in. They said I would have to wait a week for results, and in 2 days they called me and said, we need to schedule surgery. And it's really up to the patient, I guess, to ask all the questions, because they really didn't say, it's not that bad. You caught it early. I mean, they didn't want to discourage me at all from removing it. So it seemed like from the moment I went in the doctor's office, I didn't have time to think. I didn't have time to wonder or decide on whether or not I wanted a biopsy. I wasn't asked. I was just, they basically said, sit down, and they removed it, and then they sent it off. So within a couple of days, Bill and I knew that I had to have surgery, and they said we won't really know the results until after the surgery, because they're going to take a lot of it around the area, and they're going to dig deep into my chest, and they're hopeful they can get all the cells. If they don't get all the cells, obviously your melanoma comes back raging mad. So if you ever get it and you have it removed and they don't get all the cells, when it comes back, it's angry. I can just say it like that. So I went in, and you're wide awake during the surgery. You're not, it's not like they sedate you. So I had to lay there, and because it's on my chest, I had to lay there during the operation. And of course, all the drugs take effect, and they did numb all the areas around. It didn't numb enough, and it was just very traumatic experience for me. And then I had to wait another week, which turned into be a shorter period of time. I guess they give you a week because. And they called and gave me my results, or they called and left a message that they had my results, but they called me on a I think it was a weekday, like a Wednesday. They called at like 4:55, and their office closes at 5. And that all they said on the message was, we have your results. And we live out in an area where, phone service is spotty. So I got the voicemail, and I attempted to call back, and obviously their office had closed. So I was so upset. I had to sit through an entire night wondering what the results were of my surgery. It was horrible. And I called the doctor's office back and asked them, why do y'all do that? Why do you say you have somebody's results and then you just leave them waiting? You don't try to call them back again. You don't send them an email. You don't do anything. And I know that there's some HIPAA laws, but I can just imagine, somebody else having that same experience and didn't get the results I got. So I finally got a hold of them the next morning, and they told me that, for all the tests came back that they had gotten all of the melanoma out, which would increase my chance to 98% recovery. So there is still a very small chance that it could come back, and I know that if it comes back, it will be horrible. It will more than likely take my life. So this is really a video not to warn people, but to be aware that, get on Google and Google melanoma and find out. Ask a dermatologist, ask a doctor if you notice any changes in your skin, if any of your moles bleed, if any of them get swollen or they're tender or anything like that. Because, internal cancer you can't see, but you got to have treatments. But external cancer is, I think, even worse because you can physically see it. And I just really wanted to share, my experience with it. And, I'm trying to get back into the groove of things. My business took a hit because I was down, but, we're raring to go around here. But I wanted to share that with y'all and let you know that, I'm planning on pouring more stuff into my channel, even adding in some homestead stuff. But I've had a battle that I've had to do the last few months, and I'm hoping for the holidays, that we can get back on track. So anyway, have yourself checked. Don't mess around with melanoma. And everybody have a blessed day. And please find somebody to bless.